I want to know what the time is. I can't find a clock anywhere, and it's not sexy. Jack, can you tell me what the time is?
No, I can't, but maybe Tom can tell us.
Oh, Dal, Jack, if you'd done the reading, I think you'd be able to see there's a clock not far away. But anyway, I'll just tell you that it's podcast time. Hello and welcome to another fine edition of Blah Blah with me, Tom Feeney.
Me, Dale Lewis Harris.
And me, Jack William Elliott.
Welcome to Blah, starring Thomas Patrick Feeney.
D.
Blah.
Well, hello and welcome. I don't know why we were saying our full names during the introduction. Maybe the fan club, you can add that on the website. But anyway.
A little treat. Get that kettle on. Get those biscuits out.
I want you to...
Get that milk.
I want you to get a nice, big, fat hot chocolate. I want you to put your feet up. You've had a long day. You deserve a treat. And, well, this... I don't think you'd count this as your treat. But anyway... If this is your treat, God, I feel sorry for you. But anyway,
you've not got enough in your life.
Anyway, blah de blah, we're here, and like we always do, news of the week. Dale Lewis Harris, what is your news of the week?
Well, Thomas Patrick Feeney.
Thank you.
My news of the week is like a Jack Elliott news of the week. It's not a happy news of the week. It's a sad one. It brings you down. It's about one British woman and. I believe, the other one is British as well. Just seen that. They're both in Bali prison facing the firing squad after appearing to smuggle over £1 million worth of cocaine. One of the British women has 2 sons, both in their early 20s, I believe, or I think one's 19, one's 22, so both not in their 20s. But anyway. She claimed that she became the courier after both her sons were threatened to be killed, basically. And it's a similar story with the other woman who's actually got 2 young kids. But her husband is also facing the firing squad, so they could be without her parents. So what are your 2 thoughts on the story?
Yeah, well, it was a leading story in my local paper because the family's from Redcar, and I think it's a sad tale. I mean, she shouldn't have done it, but you shouldn't have to face the death penalty for smuggling drugs, and she's going to leave a 6-year-old kid orphaned.
Well, I think common sense surely has to prevail. I don't know what the British government are planning to whether they feel it's their place to get involved. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, which country was this?
This is Bali.
Bali, and of course the different rules and laws which are in Bali compared to Britain. The hope will be, of course, that the British envoys will be able to help these people who they've made a mistake. Do they deserve the death penalty for it? Not in my opinion, but. Unfortunately, in Bali, that is a known rule, and, well, if that is to happen, then, you've got to stick by the rules.
Well, I mean, what you get in, like, this country and also parts of America, where you can murder someone and, live basically the rest of your life in prison, but still, it's better than nothing, whereas you feel it's a bit of a miscarriage of justice, really, when that's happening. When these guys getting killed for drug smuggling, I'm actually in the favour of no death penalty for anyone. I think that in society you should set an example of not killing. I think if you're in a society where people can get sentenced to death, I think it's more encouraging violence as opposed to disencouraging it. I don't know your 2 thoughts.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's one of the major campaigns that Amnesty International has been running ever since its existence, started out in 1961, and I don't see any point in the death penalty. It doesn't seem to have a huge effect. They've got a death penalty in America, got high murder rate there. Norway doesn't have death penalty, has the lowest murder rate in the world of any country. Statistics show that high murder rates generally from countries with a big gap between the richest and the poorest, with very little to do with whether there's death penalty there or not.
Well, I think that's the main excuse for the death penalty, is people say that it deters these crimes, but I think there are a lot of evidence which suggests it doesn't really. So maybe some would argue, what is the point of it? Del Harris, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, if you've been listening, I told you my thoughts on this, which is like I said before, along with Jack, we both don't agree with the death penalty.
No, but have your views changed since you've heard what we've said?
Well, no, there's very little I think that could change my view. I can understand that when families want justice for maybe a loved one being murdered, I can understand that. But I think if you look in the big picture of society, that I don't think, like Jack says, I don't think has any effect or the right effect on society. So let's go to the next news story. Jack, what's your story?
My story of the week is regarding the corruption within Italian football. There's a probe. An Italian footballer arrested Italian Prime Minister, saying that what's happening is all Italian football should be halted for 3 years. I think that's
I didn't think Grant had a part in this.
I think that's a bit of an overly radical way to start this problem. But, I mean, corruption in Italian football and Italian society as a whole, and its politics, has got a long and illustrious history. What are your thoughts on this latest probe into?
Well, before that, I'll just pick on the point that Tom said. No, Avram isn't part of this. But it seems to be a never-ending cycle with Italian football. You thought they'd sorted it out after obviously Juventus and such got punished, but the problem still seems to be occurring, and there just something needs to be done, and a major overhaul needs to be made in Italian football.
I thought you were going to ask me what my views were. I'll interrupt you and tell you. You know, I think that corruption within Italian football became such a commonplace that, you know, it's such a sad regime, because I'm a big Serie A fan, and, you know, there have been one or two games. I've looked back at games from 2004, 2005, where I thought, did something happen during that game? Was there a player who was being paid? Because you look back at, you know, these games where you think, oh, he had a really bad game. Now, you then think, you know, that some of these players have been paid to have a bad game, purposely have a bad game, and it's really worrying. Dal, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've had similar thoughts when watching Jordan Henderson stir it down at Liverpool this season. It made me think, are they really this bad, or they're throwing the game? But in honesty, I think they're just really that bad. On that note, Tom, what's your news story?
My news story this week is, well, for some it won't be that big a story. For me, it's massive. And that is that the Republic of Ireland squad was officially announced. I don't know why you two are giving me them looks. The Republic of Ireland squad was officially announced, and Kevin Foley, talented defender for Wolves, omitted from the squad. Now, the rumour that was going round within the Irish journalists, I spoke to one or two, and they were telling me Foley must be injured because he's had quite a good season for Wolves in what must be, you know, an awful season for Wolves. He was one of the best players. Now, it's been confirmed that Kevin Foley was not injured, and Paul McShane, that's right, Paul McShane, somebody who, a person at this university who's a Hull City fan, had Paul McShane, and he didn't like Paul. He said he was always vulnerable to a mistake, and I agreed with that. And unfortunately, if he is vulnerable to a mistake, and let's say he makes one against Spain, I think he won't. I think that the punishment will be quite severe.
Yeah, I'd agree with that on the Foley situation. Obviously, it's not something that's going to affect on the Irish squad, you know, in there for the Irish mankind. But
You know, no. But I think for him it was like hitting a cactus, Jack, because you know at the end of the day, yeah, he just wanted to show some dude love, and I feel that this is a player who has tried his absolute best during the season, and in my opinion,
let me just say this before we go on to you, Jack. Obviously, maybe should have been honest with him because there seems to be contradicting reports. Maybe contradicting reports from Foley himself. Because people have claimed it to be the different faces of Foley. Well, Jack, what do you make on the Foley situation?